Hey, soldiers, like a phoenix rising from the ashes. Guess what? FTX is talking about coming back, going back into business, offering services. Is this a good idea? Might not be such a bad idea. We're going to get into it, cover it fully here in just a moment. I do want to refer you, we've been covering this FTX thing like nobody's business. And Sam Bankman Fried, he just got some bad news, about his case. We'll link to that later on down the road. But FTX is in talks to reboot its international crypto exchange after the Sam Bankman Fried disaster. Bankrupt FTX is moving ahead with efforts to revive its flagship international cryptocurrency exchange. This is according to the Wall Street Journal, uh, citing the current FTX CEO, John J. Ray. The company has, quote, begun the process of soliciting interested parties to the reboot of the FTX.com exchange, Ray said, according to the journal's report. The Veil crypto company has been holding talks with investors about backing a potential restart of the FTX.com exchange through structures such as a joint venture. The report added, citing people familiar with the discussion. Now, uh, of course, that old management team, the children, Sam Bankman Fried, Gary Wang, what's her name? Caroline Ellison. I think you put them all together and they didn't even equal 80 years old. All right. They are going to be nowhere near this new business. Now, if John J. Ray's involved, I can assure you that what will probably end up happening, if they get interest to do this, is they'll bring in some top-notch people with, a head on their shoulders, like John J. Ray, who is shepherding the company through its bankruptcy. You also got to understand that FTX is going to be all eyes on me in terms of, the scrutiny they're going to get, not just from the government and regulators, but also from the crypto investing community. Okay, or like I like to say, community. So this will not be the FTX of old. Now, I will say this: they're gonna need to change that name because FTX has a hell of a stigma attached to it, and nobody wants to. Very few people are going to want to be associated with that. You're going to have to change the name. I think they know that. FTX debtors declined to comment on the report. All of them? Okay, whatever. In November, FTX filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in the U.S. following its spectacular collapse that sent shivers through the digital asset industry. Now, we've got other crypto exchanges out there. You got Binance, you got Coinbase, okay, out there. So there's a market. There's a market for it. Although FTX did a whammy on a lot of its depositors. If they see pennies on the dollar, they will be lucky. Although in some jurisdictions, like Japan, they've long since started the process to make their investors in that defunct or that bankrupt exchange whole again. So there is a market, and I can probably see them coming out touting the fact that, hey, we're under new management, we got strict controls, this, that, or the other. Companies have bounced back. There was a airliner called ValueJet. ValueJet, they had this horrendous accident where the plane went down, it crashed. Some of the people actually survived the crash, but tragically, where it crashed, the Florida Everglades, crashed there, and the alligators. Okay, you can look it up. I won't go further with that. I think, this is an adult audience. You kind of get the picture there. But of course, they that did a number on their image, of course. Not just for what happened after the crash, but the fact that here's a small airliner. A lot of safety questions came up, of course. Air travel has got to be, you can't have that happen because you shake the faith in a major mode of transportation. And remember, when the unfortunate and rare event of a plane crashing happens, it is a potential danger. Well, it's a real danger. Most people don't survive that if they're in the airplane. But it's also a hell of a potential danger to people on the ground. Okay? So we just can't have that. So you mix all that up, and what ended up happening was ValueJet, they actually were acquired. They eventually, let's see, what did ValueJet change their name to? They became AirTran Airways. Okay. The airline and the Airways Corporation Holding Company was purchased in 1997 by ValueJet Holding, which owned the struggling ValueJet airline. The ValueJet Holding Company became known as AirTran Holdings and merged ValueJet Airlines into AirTran. So, boom, there you have it. They're going to need to change the name. That's just a roundabout way of, saying that. Okay, so in the days leading up to the failure, customers of Sam Bankman Fried's crypto exchange withdrew billions of dollars, hobbling the firm's liquidity. A rescue deal with rival exchange Binance also fell through, precipitating crypto's highest profile collapse in recent years. Guys, at this point, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Enlist, become a soldier of finance. Hit that thumbs up too. I almost don't even have to mention that these days. This audience is so diligent about that. Hit the join button to find out what we have to offer in the members only section. You see some of these folks that have the badges, they're in the members only section, and they can tell you we got content over there like you wouldn't believe. All right, so the industry has since been reeling amid the scrutiny of global regulators, while FTX founder Sam Bankman Fried faces a criminal lawsuit by the U.S. government for alleged fraud. He's facing much more than just a lawsuit. We've been over it time and time again. He's facing a myriad of criminal charges that could potentially land him in a federal prison for the better part of his young life. And wow, when folk do anything, okay, you go out here and you commit any kind of crime. Wow, when you go to prison, one of the reasons that's so impactful, and a lot of people don't get this, especially at the lower levels of crime, like violent, impulsive crimes, committed by, just folk out on the streets, drug dealers, thugs, things like that. But a guy like Sam Bankman Fried will understand this. They're taking away your most valuable, non-renewable resource, which is time. Now, Sam Bankman Fried is intelligent. I'm not going to say that he's not. He did a damn fool thing, allegedly. Wouldn't it be something? Can you imagine what will go through his mind if he gets, say, 20 years? Okay? In the federal system, he'll have to do the majority of the time over, I think, somewhere just over 80%. So he could be pushing 50 if he just got 20 years. He's facing a lot more than that. But let's just be conservative about it. So pushing 50, 2 decades of your life, just where you were not able to do anything at all. The other thing about that is this. Can you imagine how that industry would have changed by the time he gets out? He'll be irrelevant. He'll be irrelevant. All right? How will you make a living? You can take this guy, Anthony Weiner, who was the congressman that got in all the trouble with the photos and whatnot, sent it to underage folk and all that stuff. That guy, man, at one point, you went from being a congressman, being looked at as a possible mayor of New York, to washing dishes in your brother's restaurant. They couldn't have him on the floor where he could have made tip money and, done pretty well, New York City. But no one wants a pariah out there mixing with the customers. That's not going to help the business at all. And he's been, floating around ever since, but he's just irreparably damaged his reputation. He had his time taken away from him, some time taken away from him because he went to prison. And that's not easy to recover from, okay, in the best of situations. His parents are older, all right? Now, a lot can happen in 20 years, and that's focusing on if he gets somewhere down there. Elizabeth Holmes just got 11 years. She was the Theranos lady that, did that whole thing. I think Sam Bankman Fried's looking at more, ultimately, when it's all said and done. I think he's looking at more. We'll see. But if you want to find out what recent bad news he got, check out this video. It talks about a decision that the judge made that it's got to be pretty sobering for him. Check it out, guys. I'll talk to you soon.